computer people, and welcome back to another episode of Lost in the Farmer's Market, where today we're talking about this lovely plant, and slightly off screen you see this moving over here. That's Menace being living up to his name. Anyway, he's determined to be in this episode, what can I say? So the plant before you, this guy here, you would look at it and think, well, didn't I pull that out of my lawn? Probably not. But there are a bunch of weed plants that do look like it, and this plant is an old-timey cottage garden plant. So you may have seen it and not known what it is. In fact, at the market, thus far since I've been selling them, only one person has correctly identified what this is. So, what is this strange masked plant, you ask? Well, its scientific name is Silene coronaria. Its common name is rose campion, which sounds really good, and I'll explain why it's named that in a moment. It is in the Caryophyllaceae family, which is the Carnation family. The name coronaria means used for garlands, and the name Silene comes from the Greek word silon, which means saliva, you got me. I don't know why they're using the word for spit on this plant. There's nothing about this plant that involves spitting that I know of. Couldn't find anything. I have no idea what anybody was doing back in the day. It's native to Europe, but in some places in North America it has naturalized. And in fact, it is naturalized in the southeast of North America, so you can find it in North Carolina. And indeed, the initial specimen, this big one here, I found out here in Cumberland County. So, dull surprise. It is hardy in USDA zones 4A to 10B, but it is classified as an annual in the colder climates and a biennial in the warmer ones. And we're in the warmer ones, so it is a biennial. Foliage the first year, flowers the second year. So this is its foliage phase. It has not bloomed yet, so it'll bloom next year. Which, some people don't like the wait, but you have to do that when you're doing evening primrose, and the really old school foxglove will do that, so it's not like there isn't a precedent. It just means the plant hasn't been bred out of that habit. Personally, I'm okay with the wait. That's just how the garden grows. But anyway, its soil pH preference is 6 to 7.5. Its exposure preferences are full sun to partial shade. Now, about that soil. I found this plant growing in the crappiest soil ever. Dry, hot, full sun, no irrigation, no maintenance. And it was just like, this is my kink. And then, heavy metal guitars. But, if you actually cultivate it, you get something thick and fluffy like this. Now, I've had this on the grow tray cultivating it for months to get it there. And it doesn't even look like the way I found it, other than the fact that the basic physical characteristics are there. Its newer leaves are bigger, fluffier, softer. Cool. Am I right? So that's what it did. That's what it do. Basic potting soil with regular fertilizer will do wonders for this guy. Or girl, we don't judge. But anyway, its height can be 2 to 3 feet. Its width can be 1 foot and 4 inches to 2 feet. That's awfully specific, but I don't judge. This is a menace over here. He's mooning you. And it's also known as, and get ready for this list of names, Dusty Miller, Mullein Pink, Bloody William, Lamp Flower, Catchfly. Lamp Flower Catchfly. That's not actually 2 names. But silly. So it does look like mullein, that common herb that has that bright yellow flowers that you tend to see by railroad tracks. It looks like kind of like that, yeah. Which is what you probably were pulling out of your lawn and thought was weed. Whoopsies. And the fuzzy greenish white foliage does look like the common garden annual Dusty Miller. So these names are justified. Bloody William. Yeah, I'm not seeing that, fam. And you know why? Because this thing blooms intense pink, henceforth the rose Campion name. It's a rose pink color. So I don't know why it's called Bloody William since it's not red, but maybe some variety way back in the day was red. Lampflower Catchfly. You got me. I don't know what the heck's up with that name. That's just weird. It doesn't catch flies. It's not no Venus flytrap. It doesn't attract flies, though it does produce nectar for pollinators, so there is that. So maybe they saw flies trying to get the nectar. Anyway, onward to the factoids. Actually, they're facts, not factoids. There is a difference. This plant has a botanical synonym: Lichnus coronaria and Agrostemma coronaria, that means they're old names that are you'll find in older publications possibly, but they're no longer valid. Silene coronaria is the current botanical name for this plant. It is resistant to deer, drought, and poor soil, which I covered a moment ago, but, have to reiterate that. And in general, it's a plant that takes care of itself, which is a plant after my own heart. I love me some plants that can take care of themselves, because, oh boy, I ain't got no time to nurse around no plants. No, actually I do, but that's pretty much my entire identity. But anyway, it's an easy one. It's not hard to find. You can buy the seeds online through reputable seed vendors, so there's that. The seeds do, in fact, come up in this climate on their own, but if you give them help, it's a lot easier. And also, look at this foliage. It's almost like lamb's ear, so there's that, too. You can get lamb's ear with actual interesting flowers, though I should point out lamb's ear eventually does bloom, but most of the new hybrids are bred to delay their blooming. This guy hasn't been tampered with, which is why I recommend it. And so that covers that. Another old-timey cottage garden plant, which we've covered a few of this year, and we're going to have a few of in next year's content. So, if you have any thoughts about Rose Campion, please put them in the comments section. If you like this episode, please hit like. If you haven't already, please subscribe. The Forage blog is up and running, as always. We have good weed topics. Not that kind of weed. Wild plant topics every week. And as always, folks, thanks for watching and keep them growing.